Hey, this is Joe Price. I just wanted to tell you about a new volunteer opportunity that we've set up in the record linking lab. This opportunity involves the Numident, which is an amazing new data set that came out on Family Search this year. It's from the Social Security Administration, and it's a public data set that includes really rich information about people who died in the 1970s and 1980s. So let me show you how this works. Let me share my screen. So you'll have this Google Sheet that you have access to. And if you want a little bit of background about this project, you can click this link and it'll tell you a little bit about the size of the data set and some information about, how many people are included. And then we took a random sample and looked for hints for these people. And we talk a little bit about how many people we think could be potentially added to the family tree using this data set. And it's very likely that this could add millions and millions of people to the family tree. So like the tree extending hints alone that I'm going to show you today will likely add about 9 million people to the family tree. And the neat thing about this is these are people that are really close to the present, so that when people use Family Search for the first time, they're going to be much more likely to find their family. So here's how you can help with this project. Just click volunteer column and hit Control down, and it'll take you to the next open spot. And then you can just put your name in on some cells. That's just a way of making sure that this is kind of like checking it out. And then as you do it, you put a 1 if you've checked it. Okay, so this is what the record collection will look like. You'll have a family here on the right. You'll have the Numident record here on the left. And notice that the Numident will always have a focus person that will have a birth date, birthplace, and death date. And then it'll have the names of the person's parents. And the really amazing thing about this data is that it'll include the maiden name of the mother. So you can see here that the 2 people we have to match on are the parents. We don't have any birth info about them, but we do get 4 pieces of information. So Bert, Dean, Pauline, Davis. Sometimes we get middle names or initials. And so that can allow us then to use that information. So right away, you can see we have 4 points of contact. The other thing we know is that he was born in Canova, Cabell. And so what we can do is come over here and notice here we see Canova right there. And so that town match becomes a really strong clue. So the fact that we have the 4 points of contact on the name, and then we have an exact town match, makes this really high quality. So then we would attach the father, we would attach the mother, and then we're going to add Richard to the tree for the first time. Now, the reason Richard probably wasn't added before is if someone saw him in the 1940 census, they wouldn't be sure if he was deceased or not. But this record allows us to know, and you can see here he died in 1976. So we would hit add. Now, here's the one thing is that the Numident only shows a certain number of characters for the birthplace. And so you're going to need to just take that asterisk off and then watch for it showing up down here below. Now, he put Canova as the city of birth and Cabell as the county. Family Search is kind of wanting us to standardize it this way. So one thing I can do is I could keep it the way it was. And then maybe the hard thing here is to know is if I should standardize it on the county or the city. In this case, I'm going to actually standardize it on the city, but keep the birthplace the way it was in the record. And then we'll hit create. So now that's been attached. Now, kind of a fun thing is if you want, you can come in here and you don't have to do this every time, but it's kind of fun that if you hit view my relationship, you can see how you're related to the individual. If you use Goldie May to do this, it'll do it automatically. And then you should always feel free then to attach other records. I think the 1940 census is a really great record collection. And notice here that his parents were already attached, but he wasn't because they weren't sure if he was deceased or not. And now that we know, we can do the attach. Same thing with the 1950 census. And then we just come over here and put a 1 that you've checked it. So even if you decide not to do the hint, you can still put a 1, just means you checked it. And you're always feel welcome to put a note. So if you're not sure, you could just say, hey, I'm not sure, this is a really hard one. And that when people see that note, they can come in and check it. Let's just do one more here. And so again, here we have the 2 parents matching up in their names. And you can see here that just kind of look at the information. So we have Walter McCroba. Notice that's a very rare surname with a match. And we have Nellie Campbell. And so we've got those 4 points of contact. And now we just need to have maybe a place contact to be really sure. Or the other thing we can do is look at the comparison of the marriage year and the birth year. So you can see they were married in 1917. He was born in 1926. Now here you can see Bel Air, and here we see Bel Air in Belmont County. So that is what makes this a really strong match. Though in this case, though, that uniqueness in the names might have been enough to know. It's kind of sealed. So then here we can add him. And then remember, when you come into this part, just get it to standardize to the right place. You create a new person. We can come in here again and we can see if we're related. You don't have to do this every time. It's just kind of a fun way to see that connection. Let's see, it appears your tree does not. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on there, but notice here I have a 1940 census. And so we can take just a moment to attach that to him. So that's how this project works. And let me just show you one power tool that's kind of helpful. Well, first, one thing is if you highlight your name and want to check out the next bit, you can hit Control D to kind of copy down. And if you want to open up multiple tabs at once, you just hit Alt and Enter at the same time. And then the first time you do that, there'll be a little pop-up blocker that will show up here. So it'll be on this screen. You'll see a little red box here that will allow you to do your pop-up blocker. And the reason I like to do this is that I just like to work my way backwards then. If I decide that it's not a match, I would just close it. And I could put in a note for why I don't think it was a match. But you can see here right away on the Woolwine, really unique name. Open up this. We can also look at the siblings, and you can see that this person kind of fits in between. It's pretty close. Those kids were born, about a year and a half born in the same city. So this looks like a really great match. So I just want to say thank you for helping with this project, and obviously, use your good judgment as you're making decisions about whether it's a match. But just know that every one of these Numident records you work on, you will have a very high probability of adding a brand new person to the tree. And the person you add to the tree is really nice because they are born recently enough that people alive today will remember them and be able to go on the family tree and see their family when they come on Use Family Search for the first time. So thanks for all your help on this project.